I'm not going to mince words. One of our history professors, Charles Leiter, passed away very suddenly. The papers are missing.
Geist? This is ein Geist?
We found him. He must have locked himself in and then...
Mm-hmm. Was the key in the door on the inside then?
No. His face was contorted in agony. And the eyes... Do you know the story of Keziah Mason, Mr. Mahoney?
What's going on? Why is this not packed up yet? I want to move in already.
Professor Roach.
I got an idea about how we might approach this, but...
If your plan doesn't work out, then of course I can just ask as a fellow of the university.
I prefer to do things by the book.
Yes. Good morning. My name is Dr. John Wheatcroft. I understand you're the bereaved.
Leiter, my name's Leiter. Kirk Leiter.
Leiter's face is this screaming visage of horror. It's like frozen in agony. The eyes themselves are swollen, very much like burnt out light bulbs or something.
He's got dissociation disorder. I pulled my Colt 45.
I've been thinking about it. I don't think your fathers are brothers, and I'm starting to suspect your mothers aren't sisters either.
Doctor, he's not a well man.
We're going to perform the autopsy. We will perhaps do it, probably tonight. You hear something in the next room. It's like a metal bowl has just hit the floor and someone's caught it really quick.
A gambler, you say?
I know he went to Atlantic City twice, and you don't go to Atlantic City for the Seaside Mariner.
Cecil Hunter. Anybody heard of this chap? He done the painting here.
He was one of Leiter's students, and he got expelled.
This enormous rat falls out of the chimney, and you realise the witches in question are Patrick, Dr. Montrose, and you. The Apocalypse Players present Crimson Letters. A Call of Cthulhu 7th edition scenario by Alan Bligh. Starring Joseph Chance as Dr. Jonas Steinweg, Danann McAleer as Professor Duckworth, Dan Wheeler as Kirk Sleep, P.I., with our special guests, Doug McAndrew as Dr. Althea Montrose, and Mike Perceval-Maxwell as P.J. Mahoney. The Keeper of Arcane Lore is Dominic Allen. Chapter 3, Overfamiliar. Can you give me a sanity roll, please?
Mein Gott.
I am Hecate.
It is the other side. This is what I've trained for. He says as his eyes flicker and his hand is really shaking. It goes to the tin, but he's in his pocket. But this time he pulls it away and he turns to Montrose. And
Doctor?
I think I have seen something in this room that... I'm fine. I mean, he's white as a sheet, but he's holding it together with a 40 on his sanity.
Excellent. Well, you don't lose any sanity points. Meanwhile, back in the morgue, so Kirk Sleep, Private Eye, is stood in the doorway of a pitch-dark room.
That's right.
What's Duckworth doing at this point? You're still in the...
Well, I heard the noise from the other room. I just didn't want to go straight into it in case it was something, and I wanted to check the body again. So I think having examined the body, I'm probably going to go over to the adjoining door and just have a listen. See if I hear any more crashes or things falling off.
Of course. Dr. Wheatcroft is still with you in that room.
Oh, is he? I thought I'd snuck past him, but no. Okay.
Well, he came back. You wanted to examine the body. You had to push the roll, so you sent him to get a magnifying glass.
Yeah. In which case, in fact, I'll actually say, what was that? Did you hear something? What's that room?
That is examination room 4.
Oh, vacant, I assume.
But it should be.
Huh.
Unless there's a class in there.
Rats in the walls, perhaps.
Well, I hope not.
Thank you so much for your time.
What? Right. Well, yes, if you wish to attend the autopsy, speak to Marion on your way out, but he maintains my timetable, but I imagine it will be probably late this evening.
Delightful. I'll see you then.
Good then. Well, thank you for your help.
And you. And I'm going to leave and go and talk to Marion.
So you head back down the corridor.
Sorry, Sleep.
What's Sleep doing?
I'm staring into this dark room. I think I'm probably going to flick my Zippo lighter, see if I can cast a bit of light around the room.
So the light, the minimal light, illuminates a kind of carbon copy of the room you were just in. So there's a metal table in the middle of the room. As you look around, there's lockers on one side. There's lockers against the back wall. There's no windows in this room. There's another table with like bone saws and things.
Is so I'm standing in the doorway. Is there any light coming in from the corridor?
Just a little bit.
Okay. And if I move away from the door, will the door stay open? Do I need to prop it open with something? Is it the sort of door that's...
Yeah, it stays open, yeah.
Okay, I don't want it to swing shut. Since I've got my lighter out, I whack my pack of Camels, pop a cigarette out, pop it in my mouth and light it, just as an excuse to keep my lighter burning a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. Sort of casting it around near the doorway, is there any sign of any like a gas lamp, or even, I don't know, maybe, is there some... we in a realm there might be electric light? I can't remember whether there was electric light in the other room.
Yes, there are electric lights here.
Is there a light switch?
Yeah.
I switched the lights on.
Illuminates the room, this kind of sickly, jaundiced light. There's a series of lockers against two walls. Well, it's everything. It's exactly like the other room, except there's no horrible corpse on the table.
Mm. So I heard a shuffling. Could I do a spot hidden? See if I can see anywhere where someone could be hiding.
Well, you probably don't need to roll for that. The only obvious places are the lockers, unless they're under a table.
Okay, well, I sort of have a little look. The tables are presumably sort of that I could just duck my head down and see quite easily whether anyone was under a table.
Yeah,
and I do.
There's no one under there.
And the lockers are on, just you say one side of the room or both sides?
There's two sides, directly opposite you and to the right. They're quite big sort of lockers with grills in them.
Okay, so there's a locker quite close to me, is there? On the immediate right?
Yeah.
Are they numbered or anything?
No.
Okay, I yell, which locker did you say you left the stuff in? Oh, right. Sure, I'll check it out. And I start walking along the lockers, looking through the grills.
The many conversations in the mind of Sleep. Amazing.
Let's have a spot hidden roll then.
52. That's great. That's a regular success.
So you walk along the right-hand wall. All seems fine. You walk along the back wall. At about halfway, you're looking right through the grills, and then suddenly you just see eyes through the grill. And as soon as you do,
but can I just describe how I'm walking past the lockers looking in the grills?
Yeah.
Very casually. I don't want it to look like I'm peering in. I'm just sort of walking past slowly as if to go to the furthermost locker, peering in every grill as I pass.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you see these eyes. They catch the light just through the grill.
So this is like halfway down the lockers that are on the far wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your dex?
It's 55.
Okay, right. So, yeah.
That's a question we want asked at this stage. That's what he has to ask.
Well, so
what's your move?
that's the one that gets us really worried, isn't it? Yeah. Oh God!
A regular human who's not gonna. If this is just a regular human who's not gonna send me mad, I'm very confident in in my abilities.
Yeah.
Just don't want to see anything that's gonna send me over the edge.
Yeah. Can you give me unless you're trying to do something, I guess this is a dodge. Well, actually, you could give me a psychology roll if you like.
As I see the eyes?
Yeah.
I imagine they seem calm and
very calm. Perfectly standard for someone to be inside a locker.
I'm going to let me argue for maybe a different role, a role that maybe implies that I haven't seen the eyes at all. Like a stealth roll or something. No, you're not going to let me do that.
Well, you succeeded on your spot hidden, so you've seen the eyes.
Yeah.
And the eyes can't miss you.
Okay, fine.
Since you turned the lights on.
Okay, so what you want?
This is a psychology roll to see if you can preempt what's about to happen. Because if not, you're kind of limited in what you can do.
Well, I'm definitely going to fail this. Oh, I'm not going to fail this. I've rolled it's almost an extreme success.
Amazing. Well, you as soon as you see them, you see the kind of the pupils dilate moment, like a little bit, and you realise this guy's he's gonna try something, or she. So you can dodge or fight back.
Are the lockers? Do they have locks?
Some of them have padlocks on. This one doesn't.
Okay.
It's got like a little clasp, that just like for a padlock, but not all of them have padlocks.
Yeah. Okay.
You get the feeling he's going to push the door into you.
He's going to try. I lean on the door. I try and hold the door shut.
Okay, so I mean, strictly speaking, it's probably a fighting brawl roll because you're doing a manoeuvre.
Not a strength roll? Fine, that's fine.
Yeah,
fine.
Go on then, you can have a...
No, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with either. Happy with either. It doesn't make a lot of difference, to be honest.
Okay. Well, if you're sure.
Yeah, that's a regular success.
So he succeeded. He got regular success as well.
Oh, fuck.
So you don't take any damage, but you do get knocked backwards, and he bolts.
Duckworth!
He doesn't quite manage to vault over the table, but he sort of pushes it away and runs to the door. You only catch the back of him. He's wearing like a long coat, and he's got dirty blonde hair. You don't see his face.
Has he reached the door?
Yes. What do you want to do?
Is he in the doorway?
Yeah.
Instinct takes over. and my 45 comes out, and I take a couple of shots at his heels.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah, give us a roll.
That's a regular success.
Okay. I mean, he's running for it.
Oh no.
Give us the damage.
So, I'd like to point out that I said I'm aiming for his heels.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So, this gun does a lot of damage.
Right.
But I'm aiming for his heels.
Yeah.
So, do I just roll for damage normally?
You got a regular success, right?
Yeah, regular.
Okay.
Oh, God. I think I might kill this guy. Oh, that's worked out really well. I've rolled a 1, so I do 3 damage.
3 damage, okay. You shoot him and he stumbles. You get him in the sort of the calf. You catch the muscle there. Probably nothing too serious, but he's bleeding. And he collapses against the wall in the corridor, and he lets out this... He appears to be a young man. He's probably in his early 20s. You realise he's probably a student.
Yeah, I also realise I'm in a university in a morgue, like researching some lost papers, not trying to execute like a drugs bust. So I have a moment of reflection on what I've done. I run to him and see what sort of damage I've done.
It's relatively superficial, given that you could have killed him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blood. And he looks at you with these bright blue eyes. He's quite handsome. He's got an almost sort of American football player's build, He's clearly a bit of a jock, perhaps. But there's something about the intensity of his gaze that is unnerving. And he just looks at you and he goes, you shot me. Oh, God, you shot me.
I say, why did you run, goddammit? Why did you run?
I
tear off his trouser leg so I can see the wound.
He says, I thought I was in trouble. I know I wasn't supposed to be sneaking around. I didn't think you were going to shoot me. Oh, God.
You're in trouble now, you crazy fool. And I start trying to sort of tourniquet his leg with a bit of trouser that I've pulled off.
Meanwhile, Duckworth and Wheatcroft have probably heard the gunshot and the screaming. And Wheatcroft runs to the door and says,
What on earth now? What's he shot now?
I'm heading over there, obviously, as well, as fast as my cane will allow.
Will you please confiscate that firearm from your colleague, please?
Yes, of course. If we're at them,
Is it standard practice for the campus psychiatrist to allow his most dangerous patients to carry guns?
Not typically, no. I didn't realise how severe it was until just now. Sleep.
This may be America, but this is New England, goddammit.
Give me your gun a moment, would you?
No, I will not give you my gun. This is a potential suspect in this case. He was running for it.
Simply to put our host here at ease.
Suspect in the case? I knew your mother wasn't your aunt's sister, and your father wasn't your...
You shut your trap, Wheatcroft. This is way above your pay grade.
He is full of delusions, paranoid delusions. I'm afraid we can't predict what he might say from one moment to the next. I let his uncle, nephew, cousin act run for a while because, well, I thought it's best to let these things play out, but I realise now I was wrong. Sleep, please give me your firearm.
That's an undergraduate. Oh, God.
Well, he's lucky he ain't a 6 feet undergraduate.
Yes.
What's saying?
You better hope that he's not on a sports scholarship.
Do you know this student, Doctor?
No. Who are you, boy? And he says, I'm Anthony Flinders. I'm a history major.
You a history major? What you doing snooping around in the morgue?
I was one of Dr. Leiter's students. I was worried. I'd heard they were keeping him in the morgue. I knew something bad had happened. Oh my God, my leg.
I want to lean down and put my porcelain face as close to him as possible and say, what bad do you think could happen? He's already dead. I want to do like I want to gauge his reaction, whether he's well, he might say something.
I thought the university were up to something.
What?
And now I'm starting to think they are.
We're all starting to think they are, boy. Don't worry about that.
Please.
Are you not with the university?
This man is not a fellow of the university. You were saying, what did you think was going to happen?
I don't know. I was worried that they were hiding something.
Hiding what?
I take out my hip flask of bourbon and offer it to him.
Pour it on his wound.
No, absolutely not. It's good stuff.
Right.
And hand it to him. Hey, take some of this. It'll take the edge off.
It's just that... Well, I don't want to say. Dr. Leiter was a good man.
I think you better say. If it's something you know, I think we ought to know it. You already see that this is a dangerous situation. It's far more than a professor who died of a heart attack. I think we all know that. So if there's something you want to tell us, now's the time to tell us before things get even worse. Then we'll get you to a doctor and get that leg seen to. Don't worry. You're going to be okay.
Yeah, do you want to give me a persuade roll?
Could I do you a fast talk roll?
Or intimidate? Intimidate. I guess you could do it.
Try intimidate. And persuade's not going to get me anywhere. I'll try intimidate. No.
He says, I don't know. I don't like to talk ill about the dead.
I know you don't want to talk ill about the dead, but listen, from what I heard, the dead's been talking ill about you. We read a lot of his papers, and I read his set of reports, and what he said about you, it's not worth repeating, honestly. You don't want this stuff to get out. There's some serious serious information that he's gonna let get out to the faculty as well as the sports team. Your future after this place is gonna be worth nothing based on what he wrote about you. So
he knows. He knows what I did.
He knows all right. And if you don't want everyone to know, you better tell us what you know.
I don't care if people know. I don't care, you hear? I don't even care anymore.
Well, go on.
So, that's interesting. So if you don't care anymore, then maybe you want to share it with us.
Maybe we could help each other out.
Yes, perhaps we could.
Yeah, perhaps we could.
You tell us what you know.
And I just give the tourniquet a little tug.
No.
Just maybe a little bit too tight. Yeah, maybe we could help each other out. Yeah. And then I knock out a cigarette and offer him one. Little bit of carrot, little bit of stick.
He takes the cigarette gratefully and says, all right. Well, if you can fix up my leg and tell me what's going on. What are you looking for? Maybe I can help.
Well, Duckworth.
Yes.
You tell him. What are we looking for?
Oh, no, I think you've got a wonderful rapport. Please.
Wheatcroft is sort of seething next to you. What on earth? What do you mean a rapport? There is blood on the floor, gentlemen.
Doctor, I'm so sorry.
Wheatcroft, what are you still doing here? Go and get some kind of medic for this poor boy.
Doing here? I am the head of the morgue.
I'd like to, if it's a persuade or whatever, I just want to take him slightly aside and talk to him and say, I realise this is an extreme situation. Of course, all due process will be followed and there will be repercussions, but this is an incredibly deranged man, and we have to at least play along with some of his delusions. I will keep by his side for the time being and not let him shoot any more of your students. That would be preferable.
I want the blood cleaned up. And if you're going to fix up his leg, I suggest you take him to the medical ward and not do it in the morgue.
Listen, Wheatcroft, if you're going to have blood pour out anywhere on campus, I imagine the morgue is the best place for it.
No, the morgue is the worst place for it.
Listen to me, son. So,
can you not smoke in here either, please? I'll be back in 5 minutes, and if this isn't sorted out, I'm going straight to the dean. And he turns on his heel and storms off.
So I say to the kid, hey, kid, what's your name again?
Anthony Flinders.
Anthony, I thought so. So tell me, Anthony, what's this got to do with the Hobhouse papers?
Well, that's what Leiter was working on, and, I asked him, I begged him. I wanted to work on that so bad, it'd be so good for my major, but, yeah, he wasn't interested. But if I could see them, I just want to see them. So if I could maybe help you guys, if I could come with you, maybe, and you let me see them, then when you find them.
Well, listen to me, Anthony. The problem is we can't find them. That's the whole point. We're looking for the papers. So how can we help you if we can't even find the papers? We want your help finding the papers. Where are the fucking papers?
I got a theory about the papers.
Well, tell me your fucking theory about the papers, and then maybe we'll get your leg looked at.
Meanwhile, I've got a mop, and I'm just standing in the background, sort of gently mopping and listening in.
It's gone very Mamet. I love how Mamet it's gone. if almost every sentence can end with the papers, that would make my evening.
It's obvious, isn't it?
You tell me. Is it obvious?
These papers, they're the key to it all. Fallon and Roach.
Papers?
Fallon and Roach. They're secret lovers. Have been for years. They needed the papers translating. They needed them understanding so that they could use the rights inside of it to kill whoever they wanted. And their first victim is lying on a metal table in that room. Don't you see it worked? Their evil black sex magic worked.
All right. Hang on a second. I turn to Duckworth and I say, I feel like I'm in over my head here. Maybe when we talk about evil black magic, sex magic, mixed up with academia. I reckon we maybe take this guy back to the others and see if they can shine some light on it.
Yes, I think that's quite a good idea. Sleep, do please try to be calm. In future, there's no need to shoot people's legs out.
You say there's no reason to shoot people's legs out. If I hadn't shot his legs out, we wouldn't have got this information we just got. So tell me, do you want to get this job done or not?
Yes. I'm all finished here anyway. Put them
Could
in the bucket.
Could you help me to the nurse's office?
Of course.
Yes.
And I hoist him up to his feet and sort of...
I let you.
Sling my arm around him. And I say, let's go and get you checked out. Duckworth, you want to get one of the academic types, maybe meet us in the nurse's office, or pass on the information about the evil black sex magic and the papers? We all want to know about the papers.
Yes. Could I please borrow your gun?
I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay.
If you were to ask me, do I have a treasured possession, for example, I think my gun would be it. So, I don't think I'm going to give you my gun.
Well, yes. Get this young man to the medical office, and I'll gather up the others.
I'll do that. I think maybe I just take a back seat in this for a short time while I take this guy to the medical office.
Yes, it seems like taking the back seat is certainly your MO.
So, meanwhile, at Leiter's office, you'd been looking at this painting, and you'd noticed that it was the work of an artist called Cecil Hunter, which Roach claimed to know as a student. He was a student that got expelled for...
getting his dick out, or something of that matter.
Yes. Yes, he definitely got his dick out. Or possibly something worse.
It sounds like that sort of thing would be appreciated in this particular university at the moment.
Well, based on my experience here so far.
I don't know about the black sex magic yet, so I shall keep my counsel. Dom, is it acceptable that I am actually sitting in the chair, the Leiter's chair?
Yeah.
Because this is where I wanted to be in the Analysan's position. At the moment of his looking at the painting, and as is customary for him now, he leaps up to his 5'4", 5'5", I think I said. He's lost an inch.
The shock.
And he walks over to Althea Montrose and says, I think I was saying that you have the key, do you not, Dr. Montrose? To the conundrum.
The key? Yeah.
Did you not have some insight?
That's a good question, Doctor.
What is it that we are missing? I know that you would see it, for you are the expert librarian.
Well, I really don't know what to observe in the matter of a theft. Witchcraft, you know. It's all a load of nonsense, really, these trials.
Wait. Wasn't there a storm off the coast of Scotland in King James's time that was a major factor for the reasons for his occult fascinations?
A storm? Specifically? Why, I couldn't say.
It's a fragment from my reading. It's not
my studies more concern the New World, Doctor, and colonial activities, and yes, indeed, the Puritans and their obsession with patriarchal oppression of women, which, of course, the trials were. They're in the context of a patriarchal Christian society. They were nothing more than misogynist persecution of women who, either by choice or by fate, found themselves living alone. And maybe these women refused to toe the line, or perhaps they just wanted to be left in peace, but they did not fit. And at that time, one can only imagine to be fair on them. And to be in the New World in the 17th century with death, famine, disease at every turn, they had no choice but to look to their faith. what was it Kierkegaard spoke of? If one cannot, through one's beliefs, process the reality of their situation, it leads only to existential crisis.
Yeah.
And despair, and, well, they had little option, but that is indeed all these witchcraft trials were. As far as supernatural is concerned, well, it's interesting. But, well, nothing has happened here so far that's to slice this bit off, don't you think?
Slice this bit off? Mm.
Well, I can't speak to how you behave most of the time, Dr. For we've just met, but you've made some interesting observations, but I'm not inclined to think there's anything going on here other than a simple theft. Am I wrong?
Perhaps not. The money on the floor, PJ.
Well, sorry, money on the floors.
What do you make of this? It seems to chime, does it not? It seems to chime, does it not? With this notion. Chime, as in the ring. Do I have this right? Sometimes my English is not so good.
Like a ding-dong, like a bell.
Yes, it bells. It ding-dongs. It seems to ding-dong, does it not?
I don't know.
With the concept of this Atlantic City breakaway and desperate acts.
This
the gambling
man has sought to monetize his discovery, his research. He is a gambling man. He's got into debt, and he's sought to try and find someone interested, and perhaps he got involved in something he couldn't control.
Hold on a minute. Just a moment here. Now, did the professor say that he had been calling in debts, gathering funds together? Am I remembering that right?
That's right, yeah. Wrote.
He'd been putting together. So, now I believe Ms. Montrose, Dr. Montrose, that you came out with the notion that perhaps he had used the papers as some kind of a collateral in a gambling venture.
Indeed. Well, you're the police officer with the experience, but it would seem the obvious answer.
So, well, now, you say obvious, but sometimes the least obvious is the most obvious.
Well, is it though?
Is that?
Is it though?
I'm not sure if that's...
Sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes it isn't.
Can it be both of those things at once?
Sometimes the most obvious solution can seem to be the least obvious. But when you get to the bottom of it, you discover that it's the most obvious after all.
Well, perhaps our colleagues at the mortuary may be able to glean something. I am curious as to the...
I've lost my train of thought. No, I know. Yes, now, here. What if he was gathering all this money together in order to take to whoever won the papers from him in an attempt to buy them back again or to gamble them back again?
I suppose it's a possibility.
Also,
somebody got to him first.
Yeah. I like this very much as a potential line of inquiry, but also we have to consider who would want to pay that much money for some historical letters regarding a poor isolated woman from the New World 17th century abuses.
Good question. Papers such as these are not unique.
What is the value of these papers? That's my question.
What I'm wondering is if perhaps they are very valuable to someone because they believe them to be very valuable, because they contain certain... I don't know about this Keziah Mason.
Keziah Mason, no. Does the name ring a bell with me, I wonder? If only there was some way
possibly. Let us think on this, PJ.
Yes, indeed, yes.
As I rack my brains on the nature of the occult, will you join me?
Yes.
In the quiet study of that.
I will
Let us
join you for a moment of
the occult together.
quiet reflection, yes, indeed. Searching back through my past, my life's memories, I wonder.
Is it acceptable that we roll our occult skills?
I think that's acceptable.
Well, I have not heard of these papers.
Or even, so we're in Arkham. Would even like an education role?
Well, I do remember from last time you gave me a role to see if Dr. Montrose, who may have been most likely to come across something like this because it's in her area of expertise. She didn't recall specifically coming across these papers. Yeah. But I don't know if there's some broader context.
Well, I've heard of Keziah Mason really as much as
Keziah Mason, yes.
The name.
How exactly did we hear of Keziah?
I was about to say, have I just leapt on that because that came out in the backlog?
It was mentioned to PJ by Amelia Court.
Yeah, and the Doctor is more...
Right, yeah, because you spoke with Amelia whilst Althea humoured Dr. Stein through a series of delusions in the other room. Is she still here? Is what's-his-face still here? What's his name? The rival?
Yeah, is Roach still in the office?
Yeah, he probably
appeared.
I think he was.
I mean, as you say, we kind of humoured him.
Yeah, and he's sort of placated. But he's still pissed off that he hasn't been involved. But Steinweg kind of did a lot of work to kind of draw him out, and that seems to have placated him a little bit. That he's had his say, and he sort of, if you've got nothing else to say to him, he's sort of
beginning to drift.
Okay.
And he gives you a parting shot at the door, and he goes, I'm gonna be keeping my eye on you. You think you can undercut me? This is my department now, or it will be, and then you'll see. And off he goes.
Dearie me. Well, Dr. Simon, I don't know if I have the answer beyond the obvious, unless the most obvious answer is in fact the least obvious answer, Mr. Mahoney. I really don't know.
Where'd you get a cockamamie idea like that?
Well, you are the detective, sir.
I'm not a detective. No. I was just a beat cop.
Nonetheless, you have a nose for these things.
I never made detective.
Oh, did you try?
Did I try and make detective?
Yes.
No,
Or was life on the streets, walking the beat?
I'm a people kind of a guy. I was a people. I like to keep down on the street level, keep my ear to the ground,
Yeah. People person, as it were. Well,
sure thing, sure, yeah.
What now then, gentlemen?
I have done a role on occult.
Okay. I'd need a hard success on education, I think,
not a problem.
to get anything useful.
I'll make you a hard education roll at this stage. Why not? No, I won't. I'll fail my education roll.
No, but nah. I was thinking I could try and push it, but I'm not quite sure how.
You've
I would
heard
push
the name. It's like,
it's now
one of those.
I remember.
Oh, a local witch.
Keziah Mason was a local witch, and she lived in these parts. And
you probably know there's a local kind of bogeyman story that you tell kids, which is like if you see a mouse and kids get scared of a mouse, you just say, "Oh, it's Brown Jenkin. That's Brown Jenkin." I
always say to my grandkids, and when I'm tucking them in at night and go to sleep, whenever I'm looking after them, if their ma and their pa maybe have gone out for a bite to eat or something, I always say, "Now you sleep tight, my dears. You sleep tight, and if you hear any scritching and scratching in the night, that's old Brown Jenkin. So you better stay tucked up in your bed, and you stay sleeping. Don't you get up, and don't you come down, and don't you come and try and wake Grandpa or disturb him when he's having a beer."
Mommy, I don't want Grandpa to babysit me anymore.
As you say that, PJ, that rat bite just starts itching.
So is Brown Jenkin a pseudonym of Keziah Mason? How is Brown Jenkin related to Keziah Mason?
Now Brown Jenkin was a brown. It's a Jenkin, and Jenkins. Wait a minute. No, she was a cat.
I'm thinking with this. I'm thinking with this Brown Jenkin. This is like the association that they have with the European familiar. Yeah?
I don't think she was familiar with no Europeans.
No, and perhaps I misrepresent myself with my English. I'm thinking that perhaps a portion of the witch's soul passes over to the animal and is put into the animal, and the animal can then serve the witch, and the witch can then... Because I've just aced my occult roll, so I'm going to say that.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I don't know nothing about that.
By ace, I mean I've got a hard success.
I ain't a witch guy.
A familiar, an animal, is that the legend?
She was familiar with animals.
I've not heard of these. Right. This is a very local myth.
I don't know about the locality regarding this location and the place of Arkham and Massachusetts. This is your expertise, of course, P.J. Mahoney. But
she was
Dr. Montrose,
Arkham witch, I think.
Very much so by the sound of things. And this would make sense why the university would invest so much time and why Miss Court would be so passionate regarding the pursuit of the excellence of the study of the letters. But the most important thing for me is that there is a concept here. A concept, my friends, that is suggesting...
your concept.
Well, yes, I know. I'm the most fond of them. But, you know, the idea is that you would put a part of yourself into some other living creature.
I beg your pardon?
Yes.
You can't go around making accusations like that. I never put a part of myself into anyone.
Yeah, now you mention it, of course, PJ.
No.
My wife, God bless her soul.
Not that sort of thing didn't go on back then amongst certain occult circles, of course.
I think this episode will be called Overfamiliar. What did you get on your occult roll?
22.
So yeah, you know about the story about Brown Jenkins. It's a particular familiar to Keziah Mason. It was some kind of, rat or mouse or something, some sort of rodent, but it had little hands and maybe a face. Stories vary. And stories like, she turned a man into a mouse and stuff like that. But the main thing you know is that the Masons were quite a powerful family in the area. And they didn't disappear. She wasn't the end of the line at all. They carried on and presumably changed their names to avoid the taint of having such a prolific local witch in the family. So, her extended family persisted and probably still live in Arkham to this day under a different name.
They all died out.
Well, let us not be so sure of that. I think
she was the last of the line.
The suggestion is most of these witchcraft groups, these covens, they just employ, as you make note of, Dr. Montrose, they employ the over-rigid phallic structure of the masculine society, and they use the law to just simply change their name. So I suspect, it is my opinion, that much like back in Frankfurt and back in Cologne, the witch covens there just changed their names. And they adopted other male names in order to fit into society. Once a name was associated with an inappropriate act or period of time, such as the name of Mason, it will fade out. But there were definitely other people after her. I'm sure of it.
If you take a male name, you immediately have credibility, don't you?
Exactly, yeah.
You're no longer ostracized as an independent woman, getting up to no good and having ideas that she has no business having. Yes, of course.
Hold on. So what are you saying? That there are witches in Arkham? Poppycock.
At that, Professor Duckworth appears in the doorway.
Hello.
Oh, jeez, don't creep up on us like that. Give a man a heart attack.
Any joy?
Geist! Oh, no, it's you.
By a rat.
I see.
But not Brown Jenkins. It didn't have a face, did it, Mr. Mahoney?
Yeah, it had a rat face.
Wheels are mad.
Aye, a rat face, not a face.
I'd like to do a group psychology roll.
It had a face. It had the face of a rat.
I mean, everything has a face, even a rat. But
everything's got a face. A tree ain't got a face.
Well, he's not an animal, to be fair.
I'm just going to slowly shut the
door. I love that you've turned up. Duckworth's turned up and they're talking about what has and has not got a face.
Yeah, I find it's quite offensive, actually.
I like the fact that he left a situation where he was like managing someone who he thought was completely insane. This is proper out the frying pan into the fire.
Oh, sorry, Professor Duckworth, is that you there? I didn't see you behind that mask.
Duckworth, come back. Thank God you were here.
Bitten by a rat, you say? Well, let's talk on the way. You must come with me to the medical bay.
Got a rat up the flue. Hey, I found something here. You ever heard of a Hibbs Roadhouse?
Have I?
Probably everyone on campus would have heard about it. It's downtown, on the north side, and it's notorious for being somewhere you can go if you really need a strong milkshake.
As I often do. Yes, it's on the north side. What he said, the narrator. Yes, why?
Because I think, and I'm putting two and two together in my head now, I think that the professor, he liked to partake of a little bit of a flutter every so often. And the Roadhouse is just the kind of place he might have gone to do so. And that, my friends, is where we will find the papers.
Well, any excuse to have a strong milkshake, as far as I'm concerned.
Milkshake, is it? Yeah.
Should we walk and talk? You must come with me to the medical bay. I'm afraid there's been a slight complication.
Oh, yeah, I could really do with getting some antiseptic on
yes,
this.
Quite. You want to get that seen to. And also our private eye friend.
Hope I don't got rabies.
Seems to have had a bit of an episode and, shot a student. But all may not be lost.
I don't know what?
Well, when you put it like that, it sounds awful.
Americans and their guns, my goodness.
As you're leaving, Amelia Court says, Dr. Montrose, you asked for a reading list. I will.
I did.
I will put something together for you. Where's best to send it?
Well, I believe I have a wee ducat behind the reception in the main library building. It should have my name on it. So as soon as you've got it prepared, if you just pop it in there, that would be a dear. Thank you so much.
No problem. Well, good luck, and I hope for the sake of the department and the entire university that you do recover the papers. And let me know if you need any more help or assistance.
I shall read you your list, and perhaps, Miss Court, if I can speak to you again, I would appreciate it greatly. Thank you.
Don't you worry, Miss Court. We will find them. We will find those papers.
I haven't been introduced to her, have I?
No.
Well, I'm just going to quickly approach her as we leave and just say, what do you know of Anthony Flinders? You come across him?
Flinders? He's started bothering you, has he?
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, well.
I'm afraid it may be we who've bothered him.
I find that hard to believe. Anthony is, he hounded Dr. Leiter night and day to try to get my position.
I see. Yes, he did seem somewhat to idolize Leiter, yes.
I'm not a psychiatrist, Dr. Duckworth, but...
That's all right, I am.
I wouldn't be surprised if you discover him to be an egomaniac.
I see.
He's bordering on the delusional sometimes, I think.
I see.
I would be cautious involving him in what you're doing.
Oh, yes, don't worry about that. I just thought I'd get someone else's opinion. I'll let you know if your suspicions were correct.
While that conversation is going on, is it possible... how high up is the painting? Is it...
Oh, it's quite big. You can... I think Mahoney already lifted it off the wall a bit.
Oh, did you?
See if there was a safe behind it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he'd already checked behind it. Oh, yes, he had. That resolves that problem. In which case, since that's been resolved, I didn't manage to look in the fireplace, and there was a suggestion there was a large amount of ash.
Yes.
And obviously that's been searched through in order to find the...
Yeah, Mahoney searched that as well, and he found the matchbook. The papers themselves, it looks like he's burned a huge chunk of papers.
Oh dear.
That's all.
Probably not the Hop House papers. Looking at them, they look more. It looks more modern than that.
Yeah, we're thinking something that was suggesting maybe a record of what he was looking at. I don't know, but Also, to the morgue again. Yeah, for sure.
Perhaps he was burning his research.
That's what I'm wondering.
Perhaps he didn't want someone else to get their hands on it and feared for his life.
It is competitive stuff, this academic business. I'm realizing more and more. Particularly here in the new world. Is it not, Professor?
I have tenure. Shall we? I'll lead the way to the medical bay, the medical ward, whatever it is.
Okay. So when you get there, a nurse has taken Anthony Flinders away.
Just before they get there, I've asked the nurse, have you got a telephone?
Yes.
Can I make a quick call?
Who you calling?
I'm calling Captain Lewis at Boston PD.
The police department? You're gonna hang yourself in for attempted murder?
Very funny. No, I just want to report in.
I'm not joking, mister. You cost me a lot of work here. He's gonna have to be transferred to Arkham Hospital.
Do you want me to speak to the police or not?
I don't care what you do. Stop.
Okay.
Get out of my way. I'm a busy campus nurse.
Let me use the damn phone then, you crazy broad.
Who are you calling crazy?
Thank God Montrose hasn't arrived yet. Be another shootout.
Not to Montrose saying she's in a film of some kind with her cameras.
She sort of goes behind it, draws a curtain, and she says,
Be quick on the phone. I need to call an ambulance.
So I call the uprighter and say, put me through to Boston PD, speak to Captain Lewis.
Round here as well, it's
Arkham switchboard. Boston PD connecting now.
and you get this,
Haven't you packed the car and haven't yet?
That's perfect. You sound just like I remember, Lewis.
Oh, cake sleep. How you doing? I hadn't seen you since Shutter Island.
The very same. So, listen, Lewis, I'm over at Miskatonic dealing with some missing papers. And I just wanted to let you know I had to discharge my firearm. If you hear anything, don't worry. There's no problem. I'm looking after it. I just want to draw a line under it. You know what I'm saying?
Did you kill someone, Kirk?
Of course I didn't kill someone, Lewis. Who do you think I am?
I think you're a hardened PI.
Well, I think you're a hard-boiled egg. Is what I think.
You're a hardened PI with a couple of screws loose.
Yeah, you got that sabbatical over in down Melbourne after all. Right.
I gotta go. I parked the car in Harvard Yard.
Right. At least here you solved your automobile situation. Listen, I just wanted you to know that I discharged my firearm and the person was injured, but they're being looked after now in the sick bay here. Nothing to worry about. It's me. You know
what kind of person we talking about?
Oh, some no good. Run away from it. There's a suspect in the case. Don't worry about it.
If I get a lawyer on the phone, I'm gonna be mad as hell.
You won't get a lawyer on the phone. Don't worry about it. It's just if you get some kind of nosy, busybody morgue attendant on the phone, just ignore it.
All
right, Lewis. Look after yourself.
You too, Sleep. Good night. I mean, goodbye.
Whatever.
I mean, that happens a lot for Sleep. So Anthony Flinders has been taken away to be fixed up. And before long, Duckworth and the others arrive. You're sort of waiting it isn't like an outside waiting room.
Kirk, I hope you've not shot any of the nurses.
Not yet.
Oh, please don't. Where's our friend?
He's just being looked at in there. He's still talking that crazy talk about evil black sex magic.
I see.
What friend? Who are you talking about? What's
since
going
we're all
on?
gathered, Kirk here had an encounter in the morgue. I'll tell you about the condition we found the body in. The post-mortem's not to occur until this evening, which I hope to attend. Although there are some strange things already that do not seem congruous with a cardiac arrest. But
that weren't no heart attack. I've seen heart attack victims. That was not a heart attack.
Exactly. But that aside, as Kirk was searching one of the rooms, he was sort of startled by a young student, I believe, who he then shot. And I'm sure he had his reasons. But for the time being...
I don't need to defend myself to any of you.
Quite right. Quite right, Kirk.
I'm experienced.
I'm just... every time Kirk Sleep speaks, I'm fingering the sedative needle in my pocket, just wondering whether or not I need to administer it. Yes, upon talking to him briefly before he was sent here, he seems to have his suspicions about the murder. He posited an idea that somehow Bryce...
He suggested that Fallon and Roach were in some kind of homosexual relationship.
Keep it down.
And that they conducted some kind of evil black sex magic that they got from the Hobhouse papers. They wanted to kill people. Their first victim was Leiter.
Sleep.
Lot of crazy...
I think discharging your weapon that many times in a small space has maybe damaged your hearing, but we need to keep our voices down. Although, yes, he's right, exactly what he said. We should go through and see him, I think, before he's transferred. I go and push the door open.
What has this got to do with the papers?
I think that
he knew of the papers.
Oh, what did he know of them?
Well, he didn't give us anything specific, but he was obsessed almost with Leiter. Clearly wanted to be a part of the investigation on the papers. And now he claimed he was sneaking around and hiding in the mortuary because he was concerned about this conspiracy at the university and that they'd be doing something to the body. So he's certainly a person of interest. Whether or not we can trust him is another matter.
Let us meet the young man.
Well, if he knows where the papers are, then yeah. Or if he knows someone who
Mr.
knows.
P.J. Mahoney, I think your interrogation techniques will be invaluable for this.
Yes. Remember, he's already been shot. So.
I'm a little rusty, but...
Perfect. As we like to say on the Rhine, he's been buttered up, ready for the eating. Possibly the translation loses some of the finesse. I don't know.
I don't know where this Rhine is that you've been buttering, but... we'll see.
She's a river.
To say.
She's a goddess, you know?
Oh, well, I'm sure she's a
what are you doing opening the door?
I don't know the
she's a
Rhine.
lovely lady, but...
I got a patient in here.
Yes, we'd just like to speak to him, please.
You speak to him? You had your chance to speak to him before you shot him.
Could you take a look at my hand, by any chance?
No, I can't look at your hand. I got my hands full myself with this... I got an undergraduate here with the leg shot to pieces. He's on the football team.
Oh, excuse me, but I'm a medical doctor. I'm sure I should help him. You look very much like you are overworked. This gentleman has been bitten by possibly a rabid animal. If you could attend to that.
Slightly.
Professor Duckworth and I are medically trained.
No, he's getting sent to a proper hospital with proper doctors.
I'm sorry, you're saying that I'm not a proper doctor?
This is a university. There ain't no proper doctors here.
Is he conscious at present? I have.
Oh yeah, he's conscious. He's still conscious.
Only shot him in the left.
At a security here on campus, I have a couple of questions that I just need to ask him about what he was doing, where he was found, exactly what his reasons for being there were, and as soon as I get that tidied up, then we can move him along to where he needs to be.
Anthony, why was you in the morgue? He's behind a curtain. She pulls a curtain back, and he's sort of propped up on his elbows in a hospital gurney, and he says, I was just checking what was happening with Dr. Leiter's body.
No. Anthony, was it? Is that your name? Oh, one of my...
That's right.
I got a nephew, Anthony. He's a sweet kid. You remind me of him, you know?
We all got a nephew, Anthony.
What I'm wondering, and You must forgive my friend and his hasty reactions to the situation. He got something of a fright. I understand that you had positioned yourself in a place where it wasn't easy to see you in there where you could. What exactly? Why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell me exactly?
That's a nice way of putting it. He was hiding from me.
All right. Well, maybe if he explains why he felt the need to do that, then we.
I already told you. I just wanted to get down there to find out what was happening with Dr. Leiter's body. They've been keeping it for ages. I think he deserves a burial.
Let me tell you, anybody who would go into that morgue under false pretenses trying to see that body is up to no good.
Wait.
Well, I ain't seen nobody.
Just let's calm down. Let's calm down, and we'll get to the bottom of this. So, you were down there to examine the body. Is that what you're saying? Is that you'd?
I just wanted to see what was going on. I heard a rumor that he was, they were doing something to his body.
Who did you hear this rumor from?
Oh, some friends on campus.
What were their names? I got a pen and paper.
Oh,
let me get the...
Jack Rancy.
Rancy. And what does Jack Rancy study?
He studies mathematics.
Mathematics. Jack Rancy studies mathematics. And anyone else?
Well, yeah. There's a rumor. Everyone's talking about it.
Can I
died.
Make a psychology roll to see if he's just making up these people's names? Yeah.
To see whether the keeper is just making
authenticity.
No, it's not good, but I'm going to try and push it.
No. Now, forgive me, Jack Rancy. That name rings a bell with me. I think... is he not one of the caterers here at the college? Is he not one of the staff that works in the canteen? Are you sure we're thinking about? You sure you got the name right, Jack Ramsey, student of mathematics? Maybe I ain't as young as I was, and maybe I'm getting a bit muddled and confused. But are you absolutely sure that was his name? 'Cause I ain't feeling it.
Yeah, give me the push. Give me the push roll. Yeah. I'm kind of lean in towards him a little bit as I say that. Oh, that's a hard success.
Oh, yeah. He's like, yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe it was that Jack Rancy. And yeah, he's bullshitting you.
Okay, so what we got here is a failure to communicate.
Some men, they just don't get it. So we get what we had last week.
So why don't you tell me what exactly was going on in there? And I'll just kind of lean and put my hand on his leg and exert a little gentle bit of pressure on his leg. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I? Was that the bad one? You must forgive me. I'm a cotton-headed ninny muggins.
I look at Mahoney with a look of complete respect. He's like, now realize he's. I thought he was, just a beat cop. I realise he's an equal.
A psychopath.
No.
At least like
Don't be unreasonable.
Why was you hiding in the morgue?
It sounds like you. This is like maybe an intimidate roll with a bonus die.
Persuasive intimidation.
Yeah, persuade or intimidate with a bonus die. I think for the violence.
And I lean in close to add a little bit of further intimidation.
I've got a slightly better persuade, so I'll make a persuade roll. That's a fail. That's a fail. I've not managed to make a persuade roll.
He just says, "I already told you everything I know."
No, I know that's not true. Come on, son. Come on. You gotta level with me.
And as you say that, the nurse pushes you aside and goes, "The ambulance is coming. Get out of the way. I gotta get this boy ready. Otherwise they're gonna think this is a two-bit operation.
Well,
I'm gonna clean this up."
Thank you, nurse. I much appreciate all your help. Well, Anthony, I certainly hope that we managed to get to the bottom of this mystery. And thank you for your cooperation and your help, and I'm sure the information you provided will be invaluable.
They start wheeling him away.
While this is going on, I've been doing a little just scan of him to see whether it looks like he secreted anything about his person. You said he was wearing a long coat, right? Is that right? So I'm just having a look to see whether it looks like he might have found and hidden anything about his person.
Yeah, you can give me a spot hidden.
Oh, that's very good. That's an extreme success.
You don't think that he's got anything from the morgue necessarily, but you do notice he's wearing a necklace. You couldn't see it before, but they've sort of undressed him a bit to check his heartbeat or whatever, and you see this necklace, and it has a pendant on it that appears to be an inverted pentagram with a kind of goat's skull in the middle of it.
Ooh, okay. I say, "Oh, Anthony, that looks like it's a bit tight around your neck." I just grab it and pull it off.
They're already wheeling him away.
Oh. Well, don't do that then.
Yeah, this is very interesting to me, Dr. Montrose and Professor Duckworth. Why would a young student be so fascinated with gaining the PhD assistant position through Mr. Leiter, Dr. Leiter?
Perhaps simple infatuation.
Yeah, but more often than not, when it comes to infatuation, there is an alternate drive. Not necessarily a complex, but something that pushes a person to do it. You said that he sounded passionate. Obsessed was the word used. Obsessed is not, I think it's fair to say, Dr. Montrose, would you agree that Ms. Court seems passionate about her work?
Well, I didn't speak to her at length, but yes, she would seem to be well informed.
She was very concerned that Dr. Roach, Professor Roach, is it? Well, I forget his title, but...
Well, she clearly thinks that he's a hack compared to her own
Exactly.
boss.
Now, this is within the archetype of the true archetype of being the analyst. Yeah, this is the person who is saying, I'm going to judge whether this is the right path. This gentleman that you have found here, hidden in the locker, like something out of a Siegfried story, like a troll hiding under the bridge. He is something very interesting to me because it seems to me that he is going outside of the realm of the normal behavior to pursue his desires. This suggests panic and power. Yeah? Panic and power.
Potentially.
Tell me.
I take it easily.
Well, that's fine, Doctor, but it still doesn't tell us who's got these bloody papers, to be blunt with you.
No, I agree. It does not.
Well, so in the office, I found this. He pulls out the little matchbook, and this is from Hibbs Roadhouse. And the interesting thing is, I think our good Professor Doctor had a little something on the side with a dame at the Roadhouse, because on the back of it, you see, there's this lipstick. This is written in quite clearly, Coca-Cola with a twist, L. So I think if we go. We look for a lady.
Ask for L.
Ask for L. She might be able to tell us a little bit of something about what the professor was into, what exactly he was doing there, and potentially, maybe if he lost the papers in a gambling enterprise, he was something of a gambler. We understand from the other professor there, and then we might find out who he was gambling with and who potentially might have the papers.
Excellent. That sounds like a good idea to me. I'm not sure how early they open this milkshake house. They're a bit of a late night milkshake place, as far as I understand. But maybe she'll be in early, old L, and we can ask her a few questions.
I do hear that their milkshake is particularly effective in getting the young gentleman to come out of the house and go into the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're always sort of around the garden area.
Damn right. It's better than some other milkshakes.
Yes. Oh, damn right.
Maybe they would teach us.
Yeah.
I no doubt they're charged, though.
They might have to teach us.
Well, it wouldn't be coming for
It's
free.
the business model.
I'm thinking this is something. I'm missing something about the nature of milkshakes. It's passing over my head here.
It's an Arkham thing.
It's a cultural thing.
Cultural thing. I wanted to ask you, gentlemen. The mirror in the dead man's office was not only smashed, but melted. Yeah, and I took a little piece of the mirror, and he puts it in his palm and puts it out in front of the others. And you see here very clearly the melting process has been very effective. This is extremely unusual. I would have thought that the heat and required for the melting of a mirror is very intense. I'm not too sure, but perhaps before we leave the university, we could check on the practical nature of these things, because I have other things to discuss with you all. And one of them is I would like to know what you saw when you saw the body, the two of you.
Yeah.
Did you... What did his face look like? Because according to PJ, the lady Ms. Court said that the face was a rictus of fear.
Yes, she was right in that analysis. It was a paralysis, a sort of, a rictus, if you will.
I don't want to talk about it.
And what were the eyes like? Can I ask about the eyes?
I said I don't want to talk about it, God damn it.
Sleep. Perhaps go and... there's some pigeons outside, why not? Take some...
Well, I'm sure after a couple of special milkshakes, we'll discuss the practical and allegorical meaning of all of this at great length.
Yes.
I, for one, look forward to it.
I'm not interested in the allegory. I'm just thinking that the fact that I asked about the eyes and he is already so upset, that's curious to me.
Wow. The eyes, they say, are the windows to the soul.
Yes. Unfortunately, these ones have been smashed.
Perhaps somebody had broken in and stolen the soul.
You saw them too, Duckworth?
An element of burnt-out bulbs and black veins added to the rictus. Whatever it was, unless something drastic has happened to the corpse since the death, it was no cast attack.
Maybe he got struck by lightning.
Oh, I should say, Marion said 8 p.m. they will do the autopsy if you want.
And what time is it now?
It's lunchtime.
Yeah, great.
Can I ask, just to check, 'cause I can't remember, the mirror in the office, what kind of a mirror was it? Where was it? And where was it?
It was above the fireplace.
Oh, it was like a
kind
wall.
of... Yeah, it was quite an old mirror. It was quite tarnished.
Right. Was it like a full length mirror or just a kind of?
Yeah, it was quite a big mirror, sort of like above the mantelpiece kind of thing.
And that was found smashed and lying in pieces, kind of on the ground in front of where it had been on the wall, but it was also melted. Was the back of the mirror, the wooden part that goes behind the glass of the mirror, was that burnt at all?
No.
And the carpet on the floor, was that burnt at all?
No.
It was just the glass.
So that is
very odd.
Very peculiar.
It's extremely...
Yeah, it takes a great deal of heat to break and melt the
This
glass.
is what I don't understand. If the glass is like super hot from being melted, how come nothing the glass has touched is burnt or melted or anything?
Exactly.
That don't make any sense.
I
It's
know.
almost like the glass was melted in midair, cooled, and then fell.
And what could possibly achieve such a thing? What did you say? The less obvious is the most obvious. But the most obvious is sometimes the least obvious.
Correct.
And so this is the mirror.
So, the most obvious thing is that it didn't melt.
Is it fair to say that in the car, I ask Professor, unless we're not going to get to the car, Dom, I know what you're like.
Yeah.
We'll never leave this ward.
God, you'll die here. Is it fair to ask the...
I was going to ask the Professor, Duckworth that is, about his understanding of Keziah Mason, and just kind of try and bring him up to speed on the painting and make it obvious to Sleep as well, so that I wasn't hiding anything about that for those two. I won't be driving, but only if that's a sort of convenient thing when we get to, so that they're up to speed in time.
I think so, yeah. That's absolutely fine.
So would I need to do an occult roll to see if I know about that already, or is it fair to say I know something?
Oh, yeah, by all means.
Just to see if I know.
Any super insights?
I might have an incredible success. You never know, and know even more. I rolled an 8 on my occultist.
Woohoo!
That is an incredible success.
Yeah.
Well, Keziah Mason, definitely she had an extended family that still probably live in Arkham. They will have definitely changed their names.
To the library.
Best thing I've heard all day.
Exactly.
I love libraries. Why aren't I in a fucking library right now looking at fucking library books? What the actual hell am I doing here?
Fucking love library.
I fucking love libraries, mate.
But Montrose makes a point. You make a point. Maybe this is walking over to the car, and maybe we could have like a little moment of, do we possibly have a little look in the library?
Oh.
Hate to sound...
Why do you think you're going to find the papers in the library like nobody looked in the library for the papers before? For the papers?
You're being so literal. I don't mean you will find the papers there.
I have been pondering a possibility. Now, the young gentleman, Anthony Flinders, who we do not believe is being entirely honest with us about his motivations for hiding out in the morgue tonight.
You can say that again.
Well, it occurs to me that he's been carted off to the hospital. He's not going to be likely to be coming back to his apartment or his home anytime particularly soon. It might be an ideal opportunity to see if there's something there that might potentially give us a bit more information what his real motivations were.
That's good old-fashioned police work, and I like it. I like it, Mahoney. While we're talking about Flinders, did anyone else see the pendant he wore around his neck? No?
I did not.
So, I don't know a lot about the occult, but I know as much to know a pentagram is some kind of occult symbol. Any of you know anything about a reverse upside-down pentagram with a goat's head in it?
Well, to conclude Professor Duckworth's amazing occult role, what I will say is, to Duckworth, that immediately sounds like some kind of satanic thing.
Baphomet.
Probably neo-satanic. It doesn't sound like, but maybe you're wrong. But on the subject of Keziah Mason, you know that the Arkham Witch Trial papers, which you're looking for, were compiled by the jurist Caleb Hobhouse, who was clerk for the court when they persecuted these women and some men. Famously, he apparently collected in the papers not just the sworn testimonies and the transcripts, but also alchemical formulae and diagrams allegedly confiscated from the convicted witch and child killer Keziah Mason, thought never to have been replicated elsewhere. The Hobhouse Manse still stands to this day in the woods on the edge of Arkham, abandoned and foreboding. And the rumour goes that it's because Keziah Mason, with her dying breath, bestowed upon Caleb Hobhouse a terrible curse. So terrible, in fact, that no living soul has set foot in that house since his sudden and mysterious death. This was an Apocalypse Players production. For more information about the podcast, go to apocalypseplayers.com. Thanks for listening.